Hello, and welcome to the Rojan Kim cast. It's me, Rojan Kim. Thank you for joining me this Monday, April 20th, 420, motherfucker, smoke it up, dog, smoke it up, dog, smoke it, smoke it up, dog, smoke it up, dog, smoke it. Yeah, it's 420, yeah. Isn't it so lame? 420, isn't it so lame? What else is 420? 420 is it's Hitler's birthday. Hitler's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Hitler. Happy birthday to you and many more. Well, I guess there's no choice but for him to get older. He's not alive, so technically he can't really have another birthday. But all right, I'm a minute in, saying happy birthday to Hitler. Smoking weed in the mic, and I'm good. All right, 420, everybody. You know what else happened on 420? The Columbine massacre. The Columbine massacre happened on 420, guys. So remember that. Keep that in your thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. That's what they say, right? Thoughts and prayers. Yeah, keep that in mind. What else? You know what else happened on 420? The Deepwater Horizon disaster. I mean, that was just such a it was a big deal when it happened, but I feel like now it's not something anybody really cares about. So um, I don't even know if they fixed it. It's very possible that there's just oil gushing into the Gulf of Mexico as we speak, just gushing, and we're just filling up the entire Gulf of Mexico with oil. Speaking of oil, 420 is another crazy day where oil, I don't know if this is I don't know if this is for the first time in history, but oil is now under a penny a barrel. It's negative. Oil is trading at negative dollars a barrel. I don't know what that means. I mean from what I'm gathering, it's because I've been telling you about the whole Saudi Russia oil war, quote unquote oil war, and how that's actually really a proxy for war or a form of economic war with the United States, because the United States' economy is so reliant on oil production now because of all the fracking and stuff. And the Saudis and the Russians started just flooding the market with oil all before the pandemic started. Pandemic hits, demand plummets because no one's driving anymore. Supply is through the roof. And anybody who knows simple economics or Austrian economics, Hitler um, will know that the whole supply and demand, there's a whole thing of supply and demand. And when the supply is high and the demand is low, the price plummets and plummets and plummets. And right now the price is below. It's below a penny. It's below a penny. I mean, I don't know. That means people are paying other people to take oil at this point. Oil, it's so worthless that they're like, instead of, let's say oil went down to $1. It was under $20 a barrel. It was like a big deal. So let's say oil, well, it was at $1 a second ago. Let's say oil is $1. That means I want this barrel of oil from you, sir. How much will it cost me? And the guy selling the oil will be like, well, at market prices, it's $1. Okay, here's my one. Here's my $1. Here's my $1. Thank you for that barrel of oil. But now that oil is negative, now that it's a negative price, that means the transaction goes like this: Hi, I would like to purchase this barrel of oil. And then the guy will be like, well, the markets. Listen, I got so much oil. I'll pay you $1 to take it off my hands. How's that? And I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna take this barrel of oil and $1. And the guy's like, yeah, that's the market. That's the way the market is right now. Hey, oh, all right. Well, cool. I guess that's maybe I should just keep buying more oil and I'll make $1 every time. I guess. And then later on, I could sell this oil and make even more money. I mean, there's no loss at this point. I'm just gaining a barrel of oil and $1. I've just gained a barrel of oil. I don't. I mean, look, this whole economy thing. I'm not an economist. I don't know how this works. I just understand from a consumer. I'm just like, okay, if things are negative prices, that means they're paying me. When does that ever happen, right? When does that ever happen? And what does that actually mean? On the other hand, I don't know if if this is like a permanently destabilizing thing, some quirk of the market, the way the markets work because of trading and all that stuff. That could be it. That could be it. And I think that maybe a good sign is that the oil futures, the whole thing of where they're trying to set the future price of oil is at 30. So they're saying this month's oil is worthless, but the month, like 2 months from now, or whatever, the next month's oil, I don't know I'm still learning this shit. Basically, the dudes on the market are betting that oil is going to be somewhere at $30 a barrel once demand rises. So, I don't know. Seems like a really great opportunity to get in on the ground floor. You actually get $1 for buying oil and then make $30 more. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. This is all profit. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? What could go wrong when the most important commodity in the world, the thing that powers everything. I mean, all of our electric stuff, all that jazz. Forget it. It's still all powered by oil. You know what I mean? Like there's no like grid that's not powered by oil. So it's all powered by oil. So I mean, who knows? Hey, wars have been fought for this kind of stuff, right? Wars have been fought. Economies have crashed. The U.S. economy is something like a third or something dependent on the price of oil being above 30, and this can't be good. But this can't be good for anybody who makes oil anywhere. This has got to be. It's got to be bad. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I don't know enough. I don't know enough to be afraid. I just know enough to know that this is crazy. This has never happened before. Huh? What does it mean? I don't know. Well, that brings me to the next thing that I've been kind of talking about, I guess in my mind, I've been I don't know. Well, I've been whatever online. I've been having discussions with people because we're at a time. We're a month into this thing, into lockdown, right? We're starting to see the economic effects. We're starting to see the psychological effects. Frankly, a lot of people are starting to hit their limit. Okay, I know of people's shrinks that have checked themselves in to the loony bin. You know what I mean? Like people are snapping. Extroverts, weightlifters, going out of their minds right now. Can you imagine? Sexaholics, all these people who are dependent on the community, society, or just even having heavy things at a gym like that. That there's only can take. So over the weekend you saw protests. You saw protests from in Michigan against the Democratic governor of Michigan, who ordered stay-at-home orders, and then the people of Michigan, not all of them, but like the Republican ones who are against the governor, came out and were like, yeah, and then Trump was like, yeah, freedom, and then there's a lot of people who are like, yay, freedom, which honestly, I'm torn on this whole thing. Like, I can't rightly say, I feel like a lot of people are like, so sure that they're on the right side of everything, that then they double down. And that makes sense. In times of uncertainty, you find comfort in certainty. And then when that's questioned, you double down on it in order to hold on to that certainty, because that certainty is actually more important than reality. Okay? That's the whole thing, is that it's just like, I think it's easily explained through psychology, child psychology, which I think we're all basically traumatized kids and have the psychology of children, mostly. I think at our most, let's say, innate and irrational, I think our psychology is closely mirrored to that of how children think, simply because of the fact that that's how we grew up. I mean, those are our formative years. That's how our psychology formed, was through the developmental stages of our lives. So I think that it makes sense, when a common thing that's explored in developmental psychology is that when parents break up or have a fight or whatever, it's very common for the child to blame themselves. You know why? because that's actually a better story to tell for the child than to tell a story that mom and dad suck. You know what I mean? That mom and dad are just like, they gotta end this or something. You know what I mean? Like the kid would rather be like, I'm bad and I'm the reason why mom and dad are fighting, than say mommy and daddy suck and are totally failing in their obligations as a parent, and instead are fucking can't get over whatever it is they're fighting about, and they're gonna destroy the family. Or maybe it's not exactly, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Kid, it's a better story to be like, I'm the bad one. So how does this relate to the protests? How does this relate? What are you fucking talking about? Okay, I think right now we're all in a traumatized state. We're all in a state where we're locked down, and we're taking the government and the scientists and the experts word on their projections. You know, we're like, hey, I saw those projections. I saw the graphs. I saw the scary graphs. I saw the shit going down in China, man. I saw the shit going down in Italy. You know what I mean? So I knew it was coming. And back then, when everybody's like, it's just the flu, what a big deal. Nobody, I was like, dude, it's a big deal. It's coming. I mean, it's a big deal. Okay? It's a big deal. I'm not saying it's not a big deal. I'm not saying it's a hoax. I'm not saying the virus isn't real. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm not saying we're not doing the right thing. Okay? I'm not saying any of that. What I'm asking is, and what many other people are starting to ask, rightly so, including, I mean, come on, I can't take credit for this like I'm some independent genius. And, you know, guys like libertarians, a lot of libertarians, let's be honest, a lot of libertarians. Because, you know, frankly, there's a lot of Republicans who are down with the shelter in place. You know, Ohio's governor. A lot of Republicans were down with seizing power. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that that's beyond anybody. But there is a populist / elitist thing going on where the elitists are now like, we know better because of the science. And then the populists are like, rah, what do you know? You just want to jackass. And, you know, in some ways, they're both right. I don't think it's very clear cut. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, there was and is a danger, a clear and present danger of a pandemic, and it could have been. Imagine if we had just let March Madness happen, how much worse this thing would be. This thing would be way worse. So we did a lot of things. A lot of businesses saw the projections, and they were like, we ain't getting sued. You know what I mean? And God bless them. God bless them for caring more about the bottom line than public health, because they would have gone ahead. You know, if the numbers went the other way, they would have gone ahead, and we could have gotten really fucked. So maybe we dodged a bullet in that sense, where we canceled all these things, right? Canceled all these things, prevented a lot of spread. But now we're at a point where, okay, come on in. You come in. Hold on, I'm pausing. It's all right, I paused. Oh, I paused there. Remy had to come get something, and that's okay, I'm back. All right, I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, now I remember. Questioning the lockdown. Yes, the questions. The questions. Here's the reason why I think it's important to question. I'm not questioning the virus. I'm not questioning the harm. I'm not questioning the seriousness. I'm not questioning all this stuff. What we're questioning now are the projections and the models and the tactics, right? Right? Look, the projections are being updated all the time. They started out at 2 million deaths in the United States. They said it could be up to 2 million deaths. And that makes sense because you look at the numbers and you say you don't want to fuck the country. You don't want it to be all like, it's not a big deal and everything. So you scare everybody. Okay, that number got dropped to 240,000. All right, we're down to it. Okay, and then they're like, all right, it's a tenth of what we thought it would be, but it's still bad. It's still bad. That's like 4 times more than the flu. Still bad. Okay, now the numbers are about, it's under 100,000. Okay, numbers are okay. So yeah, revised numbers. All right, it's not as bad as we thought at the moment. Maybe, we don't know. Is it fair at this point to ask, hey, what's going on here? Do we need to reevaluate how we're handling this whole thing? Like, for instance, maybe what we should concentrate on is getting a lot of antibody tests. Lots of tests. Not just tests for the virus, but antibody tests, just to see if we've had it. Here's the thing. There's a good chance with how communicable and virulent this thing is, that it may have run through a lot of more of the population than we think. There was a study that just came out of Santa Clara that said that the entire Santa Clara County population was at least 50 to 80 times infected, more infected than they thought. You know, whatever their numbers are, case wise, they're like, it's fucking out of control. The antibodies show that there's at least 50 to 80 times more infection going on, but none of those people are sick or dying. So that means maybe asymptomatic carrying is really a thing. Maybe there's a lot of asymptomatic carriers. Maybe there's no real need to quarantine everybody, but maybe just the most vulnerable. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, it's not good for the people who get it and die, but does that mean everybody who has it and is not going to get sick, that they need to not function anymore in the society? Okay? Listen, oil is under a penny. Oil is at negative. You don't think there's any more repercussions of this? This is where we are now. Okay? Where we are now, projections are 1 in 5 restaurants will survive this. Small restaurants. I mean, the big restaurants will be fine. 1 in 5. Okay, small restaurants. Those are small businesses. Imagine how many people are in the service industry. Servers. How many servers are there? Huh? Bartenders. All of them. Okay, fucked. 4 out of 5 people who work in the service industry are gonna be fucked. Okay, business owners, the fucking dishwashers, everybody in between. Okay, you think that's gonna be hunky dory? You think the government is definitely not printing tons of money to help them out? You think everything's gonna be fine with a country full of guns? You think everything's gonna be fine? All right, okay. Oil's under a barrel, fucking guns everywhere. People are gonna start fucking getting desperate, hungry. People are gonna start killing themselves. There's already an opioid suicide crisis. You don't think that's gonna? No, you think it's gonna be fine? It's gonna be fine. We should just keep sheltering in place because they told us to, right? We should just keep. We shouldn't question the authorities and the models based on facts on the ground that keep changing. Listen. What we're dealing with is not a consistent enemy, a threat, a biological, even like it's not like an animal. You know what I'm saying? It's. How many of you know what a fucking virus is? How about that? A lot of people fucking argue with me about this. I'll tell you one thing. You even raise the question of like, are we doing this shit of questioning authority? The backlash is incredible. How many people carry water for the state? You know, carry water for science and carry water for the experts. I listen to the experts because You know why you listen to the experts? Because you don't understand science. I mean, I understand it enough. I listen to the experts, but then I understand that experts are composed of people who argue amongst themselves. Science is not black and white. Science is not like, does this happen because of this? And then they go, yes. That's not science at all. All science will tell you. Scientists, all of them, will tell you that's not how it works. Scientists thrive off of proving each other wrong. Okay? That's what science is all about. Science is one of the most reliable things we have because of the fact that it's continually questioned, right? It's continually, like, you get an experiment and then somebody wants to verify it, right? They can fucking try to recreate the experiment. They question it at every angle to try to find all the variables. They're like, that's why we got these iPads and these recorders and the internet, and we got all that stuff because of the process of the scientific method, which allows for constant questioning, correction. The conclusions based on these actions by all these people lead to consensus, but all that consensus is based on probability. Okay? So, by definition, science is not black and white. Expertise in science does not entail black and white dogmatic knowledge, right? It's when you deal with people who have no idea about any of this, then it makes sense for them to defer to the scientists. But always deferring to the scientists is not going to be a good idea, okay? Because there's just too much political will. There's too much economic there's too much economic incentive for certain things. You just can't trust everything. But science doesn't trust itself. You have to understand that, okay? So when we question the authorities, questioning the science, okay, it's not bad to question authority. In fact, that's the hallmark of what makes this country great. Otherwise, we should just be like China, where when you question something, they just throw you and 3 generations of your family in jail. How about that? Is that better? Some of you would want that. Some of you feel like that's what we should do. These Michigan people protesting, let's lock them up, let's lock them up. It's actually amazing how authoritarian People are. They just jump on board with authoritarian stuff. Now, listen, I understand that in a public health crisis, you might need to do something like that. You might need to take charge. You might need to have some totalitarian instincts to do stuff, you know? I mean, a lot of people are just like, Trump should have closed down the border, and then Trump, how dare Trump close down the border? You know, it's basically that's the thing. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that once power is relinquished and once the government has all this power, they're just not going to give it up, guys. They're not going to give it up, you know? They're just not going to give it up. Look at the TSA. We don't need the TSA has been proven not to even work. They haven't prevented anything. They haven't prevented anything yet. And lo and behold, the company that made those machines, you know, the fucking microwave machines or whatever, the things that scan you, guess who owned that company? Oh, Mr. John Ashcroft, huh? Who used to be the guy who put all this in place? That guy? Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Anyways, here's my issue with this whole thing. We're dealing with a mutating threat, okay? We're dealing with a biological entity. I started off and went off on a tangent of like, what's a virus, huh? What's a virus? Anybody questions you, what's a virus? I'll tell you what a virus is. A virus is a piece of genetic code, RNA, not DNA, RNA, wrapped in a protein, okay? And it's not alive. It's not alive. It's questionable as to whether it's not a multicellular, it's not a cell even, you know what I mean? It's a virus. It's a very particular thing, okay? Virus, all it does is it finds the proper cell, because it needs a cell. It's not a cell. It needs a cell to bind to inject its RNA into the DNA of the cell. The RNA is like a piece of computer code, you know, that changes the DNA of the cell that it just infected to create copies of the virus. The RNA, it just did, and then the RNA, and then it'll just continually replicate inside itself, and then the cell wall explodes, and all these viruses go out and they find other cells to infect, and then they'll replicate, so on and so forth, and there's exponential growth inside of one person, just like there's exponential growth across a population, right? Makes sense. Now, the way viruses evolve, it's not the way DNA evolves, which is through adaptation, you know, the sort of stress of the environment, adaptation, and all that. That's not how it evolves, right? RNA, the viruses evolve through random mutation. They have a numbers approach where if we just make billions and billions of ourselves, one of them will change it up, find a new way into another cell, and then we can keep going because, you know, immunity comes, so on and so forth. Remember, I talked about this in the episode, a couple episodes ago, about when I talked about the Red Queen hypothesis, right? The Red Queen hypothesis about the sort of struggle between RNA and DNA is the engine of evolution as opposed to whatever it is we think it is as human beings, as multicellular organisms. We have a multicellular chauvinistic view of evolution, and I think there's some credence to the idea that we're actually just vessels for a vast microbial conflict going on. We're just the, you know, just the tip of the iceberg, just the mushroom that pops up while all the mycelial mass is below. You know what I mean? Like, we are just little vestigial things. I mean, there's more microorganisms that live on us than we have cells in our bodies, okay? But from our perspective, doesn't matter. Anyways, we're dealing with that. We're dealing with a mutating threat, a threat that continually mutates. Let's take Ebola as an example, just to sort of illustrate what I'm saying. Ebola, the problem with Ebola is that, like, you just fucking melt. You know what I mean? You just get it and that you're dead. Yeah, you're dead. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. So you die. The problem with that, from a virus's perspective, is that the virus doesn't want you to die, man. The virus wants you to live, to spread it. Gotta be spread. It works by spreading. So if you die, you fucking die, then it can't spread. So the virus, it's not advantageous for the virus to be killer. It's advantageous for the virus to mutate to a less harmful yet more infectious form. Kind of like what happened with SARS. Because back in 2003, we had a little thing called SARS. And it didn't quite make it here, and, you know, we didn't treat it like a big deal, but it was a huge deal in Asia. Hong Kong, China, Korea, like all over Asia, SARS was a big deal. SARS was like what we're dealing with now, but back then. That's why now they know how to deal with the shit because this is SARS 2, guys. It's SARS 2. That's what nobody's telling us. So SARS, so it doesn't necessarily mean that the SARS 1 virus mutated and became SARS 2. I mean, it might not. We have no idea. What we do know is that the SARS coronaviruses come from bats. That's what we do. We do know that because we did it with the last one, isolated from the last one, figured out it came from a horseshoe bat. I think a horseshoe bat to civet, to some kind of wet market thing or something. I don't, kind of a similar thing. So this time it was bat to pangolin or they don't fucking know, but they know that genetically the SARS virus is a 2. That's the sequel to SARS 1. Okay? So given what they knew about SARS 1, you could have projected, hey, it'd be a really crazy thing for SARS to do to become like, a little more advantageous out there. It'd be less deadly. What if it only killed, instead of killing like 30% or 40? I mean, SARS is one of those things you would die, you're dead. MERS too. MERS also bat to camel. Okay, MERS. Okay, and it wasn't because they were eating camels. It was just, anyways. MERS would kill you instantly. That's the problem though. Couldn't spread. So this SARS 2. Fucking, it's like you take a thing and make it even better, just like the Chinese do. That's what the Chinese do. There's a chance that the Wuhan Institute of Virology is actually related to a military base in Fort Detrick, but that's all. But who cares? Who cares at this point? Wuhan. All right. It's a mutating threat. Here's the thing: virus could mutate. It could become less deadly. It might have happened already with the amount of transmission, and that's gone. And billions of people might have been infected already. We don't know. We don't know because we don't have tests. We don't know because we're not as nimble as a virus. Okay, so then this returns me to the original question. At what point, and this is a question, of course, I can't take credit for it. Dave Smith, comedian, libertarian, asked this question. Ron Paul has been asking this question. A lot of people have been asking this question. At what point is the lockdown worse than the virus? At what point is it when there's food riots? Is it when there's no more gas? At what point do we say, hey, maybe we shouldn't have shut down the economy like that? Maybe we should have come up with a better plan. Maybe that wasn't the best plan. I don't know. Right now, we're at a state where if you even suggest that maybe this plan isn't the best plan, they're like, how dare you? People are dying everywhere. You gotta listen to my authority. And it is really about authority. The authorities do not want to admit they're wrong. Look at what happened with WMDs. Did anybody admit they were wrong about WMDs? No. Did anybody admit that they were wrong about the financial crisis? No. Did anybody admit that they were wrong about Brexit? No. Trump winning? No. Russiagate? No. The impeachment? No. None of those things. And now they're right. Now we should listen to them. See? That's the whole thing. And here's again, we're in such a state where the news has been shitty. The news has been shitty. It's literally been lying. You can catch it in lies, okay? Well, then no wonder these fucking Republicans or whatever, they don't trust the news. They don't trust the news. They don't trust the science. They don't trust them. They don't trust them. Are they dumb for it? Sure. Yeah, let's say they're dumb. But on the other hand, it's not illogical. It's not illogical. It's not irrational. In fact, it's kind of rational. Fucking news keeps lying to me. I'm gonna be like, all right, well now I gotta listen to you again. You get, if anything, the news has blood on its hands. How about that? They're saying, really, they love saying Trump has blood on his hands, and China has blood on its hands, and you got blood on your hands. These protesters have blood on, blood. What about the media? Media's got blood on. Media's got plenty. Media's got blood on its face. All right. You guys know how I feel about the media. I'm just saying, okay. Anyways, mutating threat. We got to be nimble, guys. We got to be nimble. So at some point we have to start asking the question, what do we do next? Can't just do this. Can't just do this and wait out. We're not gonna wait it out. It could mutate again. It could be a second wave. It could mutate and get worse. Anything could happen. So what's the plan? Do we just keep reacting? Because that's all we've been doing. Right? So listen. I think there's such a lack of nuance in our culture and in discourse that when you ask a question about are we doing the right thing, it immediately becomes this left, right, blue, red, yes, no binary thing. It becomes totally binary. You're either with us or against us, you're for us or what. It's very American. But it's honestly, like I was talking about the paradigm shifts, that shit is over. Okay? Binaries are over. There's more. There's going to be more. There's going to be more than just two things going on. There's a lot more things. Okay? There's a lot more things we got to know how to swiftly maneuver. Could we possibly outmaneuver a virus? Could we possibly be smarter than it? Could we do that? Probably, yeah, if we just dropped this whole fucking partisan thing. If we dropped the whole Coke and Pepsi, Apple, Android bullshit, we just drop it, we could probably beat this thing, okay? And we probably don't need to do it like China did, okay? Can we also just not do it like a giant monolithic authoritarian totalitarian state? How about prove that federalism is a great thing? The fact that we could have 50 independent moving units, all right? We got maybe some of them will form coalitions. Maybe some of the fucking geography is too huge, okay? And our central government doesn't have the power, and it shouldn't, quite frankly, to do what it needs to do in that case. So maybe there needs to be an alternative. Maybe we gotta allow the private fucking sector to get in there. Maybe we gotta just get out of the way. And maybe the government needs to get out of the way. I don't know what the answer is. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we gotta ask these questions. We gotta ask these questions because then what? Okay, look, oil is under a penny. Okay, 1 in 5 businesses, restaurants are gonna survive. I don't even know. The numbers for the small businesses, all that shit, are gonna come out soon. It's not gonna be good. People are gonna be fucking hurting. People are gonna be fucking dying. People are gonna be becoming depressed. People are gonna be suicidal. People are gonna be overdosing on drugs. People are gonna be picking up a gun. You know what I'm saying? Desperation is coming. The government is doing nothing to help us. Nobody's doing anything. Okay? And meanwhile, we're listening to the authorities and saying, okay, we're doing what we're doing for public safety, and I don't think that that's bad. But what is bad is when we let what we're doing to mitigate harms become more harmful. And it's bad, I think, if we just let it happen. If we just watch it happen. Just watch the car roll off the cliff and be like, well, we were doing this to be safe. So So again, in this day and age of binary thinking, of zero nuance, I'm trying to put forward a nuanced question. Okay? Just a nuanced. It's nuanced. It's nuanced because it's not a yes or no thing. It's not a black and white. In fact, it's a yin yang. It's a yin yang, bitch. All right, just like China. Whew. All right. I'm just saying, we need to continually reassess, question our protocols, question our projections, question the things we do because the virus is changing, it mutates, facts are changing on the ground all the time. Just because it is the way it was. Just because things on the ground look like the way they were in Italy or China does not necessarily mean it's going to be like that. Just because people are taking different tactics doesn't necessarily mean that it's good or bad. I mean, people are saying, like Sweden, for instance, is doing a herd immunity thing. No idea if it's good or bad. No idea. Britain's kind of doing one. We don't know. We don't know. We're still trying to figure it out. So, that's the thing. Let's just think about what the consequences of beyond the disease, yes. I'm not saying, and again, it's not black and white. It doesn't mean let's just lift everything now and go back. Just saying, why don't we use our brains, okay? Instead of the lizard brains we have to fight each other, why don't we use the monkey brain, the higher simian brain, to try to assess how do we keep this up. Look at all the different countries. Look at what they're doing. South Korea didn't have to necessarily shut down. A lot of Asian countries didn't necessarily have to shut down. They were prepared because of SARS-1. They were prepared. They had all this stuff. And sure, Asians culturally, they'll fucking do as they're told. They're going to do it. They're going to do the thing because they need to do it. And because they knew from back then, it was less of a hard sell. Okay? All of that, withstand it. There's no reason why America can't handle the virus. Okay? There's no reason why, beyond the fact that we have shafted our healthcare workers. Sorry, my whole argument crumbles when I'm like, oh yeah, we fucked the healthcare workers. Look, a big part of why we're doing all this, the sheltering in place to not overwhelm the healthcare system, blah, 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 it's because the fucking economic policies that these motherfucking quote unquote politicians, rulers, the guys who on both sides of the aisles. It's because of the economic policies that they've had that we have to actually do this. That's really, if you really think about it, that's what it is. That's why the government can't be all like, hey, listen, we totally fucked up in a lot of the way we were doing business, and especially with the cheap China thing, and we're getting shipments of these masks every week, so we basically just didn't have a stockpile of them. Look, and so now you guys, could you please wear masks and stay at home? Like that, they're not going to do that. Not going to do that because that goes back to the admission of wrong by the authorita. The authorita does not admit wrongdoing ever, right? And I feel like just like good children do, people here, the public, has taken on that stance, has taken on that point of view, has taken on the idea that do not defy the authorita, except somehow they become the authorities. Somehow it's pretty interesting how people are like, they carry water for whatever side it is they're carrying water for, and they plant their feet firm in the ground and are like, this is reality, this is how it is, and this is how dare you question what blah, 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 blah. That's a big part of it. I piss a lot of people off, I think, because I ask questions. I think that's the number one thing here is that I ask too many questions and nobody likes me. Well, the questions need to be asked, goddammit. Okay, what are we gonna do? Just fucking sit around with our thumbs up our asses? I've got 2 thumbs. I can do both. All right. I guess it's time to wind this down. I mean, god damn it. Did I want to talk about it? I never know what I want to talk about. I wanted to talk about the oil. Okay? The oil. Remember, because I talked about the oil before, and now look at the oil. Oh, it's crazy. What's going to happen? I don't know. Right? I think questioning the lockdown is important. Doesn't necessarily mean don't do the lockdown. Doesn't necessarily mean we shouldn't, we don't listen to the authority. It's not black and white, goddammit. It's about projections, questioning projections, science, scientific consensus, the fact that the facts on the ground are changing. The virus is mutating. We don't even know what's happening, okay? We need tests. We need antibody tests. That's why we need tests. I mean, we need a lot of testing, contact tracing. Are we going to fucking all opt in for that Google Apple thing where now they have all your biometric data on top of your location data and financial data and all the data you can give them? Is that what we're doing? To beat this virus, we got to just give them all the data? I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. Honestly, we don't know. I mean, we could have had a better answer if we'd been better prepared for the past 20 years and had all the PPE and stuff. I mean, that's all besides the point. That's all, if wishes were fishes, you'd be an aquarium. I don't know what that means. Okay. All right. Listen. All I'm saying is the world is changing. The world has changed. The world is moving fast. The world is moving faster and faster. The world is moving faster than it's ever before what am I saying? The world is moving so much faster than we are accustomed to it moving, and we are built as a country to deal with it. It's moving too fast. Fucking Joe Biden. You think Joe Biden or Trump, you think they got a handle on this? You think they're gonna fucking 78-year-old guys, 70-year-old guys? You think that's who's nimbly dealing with the threat? So, look, there's no hope for us from the feds, okay? There's no hope. The government, like I said before, over and over, it's all about the local, right? So, what are we gonna do? We gotta make sure, I don't know, at the local level, that everything is okay in terms of health, right? Before we start undoing the lockdown. But there's also, we have to acknowledge the chance that could be sooner than we think, because we might all actually have it. It's very possible we have it, right? And we might have it and not be symptomatic, which could be how this virus is working. Until we get the tests out there, until we get all the science in, we don't really know. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Those are the questions I'm asking. I'm not saying the virus is a hoax. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not saying the scientists are fake. I'm saying scientists, by virtue of being scientists, understand that they can't make 100% claims. There are no 100% claims in science. It's all probability. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with. Isn't it fun? Uncertainty, hooray! I mean, I thrive in it. I like it, but I know it's tough. It's not easy. It's not an easy place to be. But you know what? It is an easy place to be. Following me on Twitter and Instagram. That's right. How comfortable! It's just to click the little thingy, and then you don't have to do anything ever again. Come follow me on the Spotify and the Stitcher, Apple, Google Podcasts, wherever you find a podcast. Follow me on YouTube. I put the podcast on YouTube. Follow me wherever to get the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, goodbye.